Welcome to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe and hit the bell icon for new updates. Before the TV cameras, before being famous, before Bitchin Rides became a show everyone knew, Dave Kindig was just a guy with a pencil, a drawing pad, and a garage in Salt Lake City. No helpers, no time limits, just a love for curves, metal, making old cars look better than new. He wasn't born rich. He wasn't given a platform. Every inch of Kindig-It Design was earned from the bottom up. In the early days, the stress was always there and really hard. Dave wasn't just building cars. He was building a future with no safety net. He had a wife, 2 kids, and no plan other than working really hard. The shop wasn't much. Barely enough room to move around when a car was inside. But what it didn't have in space, it made up for in excitement. This was where big dreams met desperation. The lights didn't always stay on. Some jobs barely paid the bills, but every car that rolled out the door was a quiet promise that this shop, this name, would one day mean something. There were no promises. Friends doubted him. Customers backed out. At one point, the business almost fell apart under its own weight. But Dave never let it show. Not to his family, not to his team. He kept drawing, kept working hard, kept smiling for customers, even when the numbers didn't add up. Because the truth is, this was never just a hobby. It was survival. Okay, when survival is on the line, giving up isn't just a bad outcome. It's not a choice at all. Okay, that's what made Dave different. He wasn't just building cars. He was building a lifeline with every weld, every line, every sleepless night. Dave Kindig was working a safe job in graphic design. Good hours, steady paycheck, benefits. But every night, he went home restless. The kind of restless that doesn't let you sleep. Because your hands were meant for more than typing. He wasn't happy making someone else's vision look good. He wanted to create from scratch with steel, not computer programs. So, one day, he walked away. No safety net, no big investors, just a gut feeling and a shop lease that barely fit more. And a couple cars. To the outside world, it looked crazy. Kindig took on loans, maxed out credit cards, and bet everything on custom cars. During a time when the industry wasn't exactly doing great, friends raised eyebrows. Family members whispered behind closed doors. Even Dave admitted in interviews later that there were moments he thought, did I just make a huge mistake? That's the thing about belief. It doesn't wait for the world's permission. Dave worked around the clock, juggling customer needs with money nightmares. Some nights, the only sound in the shop was a grinder echoing into the early morning. He missed birthdays, canceled vacations, promised just one more hour that turned into sunrise. His wife Charity kept the books. They both kept believing. His customers would come and go. Some paid late, some never paid at all. And when it came time to make payroll or buy parts, Dave often took the hit himself. 'Cause when it's your name on the building, there's no one else to blame. This wasn't a side job. It was sink or swim. And the problems never stopped coming. When Velocity came calling with an idea for a new kind of car show, Dave Kindig saw it as a chance. Not for fame, but for exposure. A way to show off what he and his crew were already doing behind closed shop doors? But what started as an opportunity quickly turned into something far more intense. From the moment Bitchin Rides hit the air, the phones started ringing. Fans, customers, camera crews, everyone wanted a piece of Kindig-It, eh? And at first, it was exciting. The builds got bigger, the budgets got better, the waiting lists got longer, but so did the workdays. So, did the expectations? Every project now had 2 deadlines, one for the customer and one for the TV network. Suddenly, every mistake became a storyline. Every fight could end up on screen. The shop was no longer a safe place. It was a set. And while most fans saw the fun edits and satisfying reveals, what they didn't see was the exhaustion behind the scenes. The builds that weren't finished in time. It's the moments when creative compromise won over perfection. Dave had to smile through. Pressure cookers? He had to build faster without making things worse. And as the star of the show, he had to be camera ready. Even when mentally tired, his passion became programming. His art content and every new season came with the same unspoken question. Can we do it again without falling apart? Behind every build was a crew, but behind every crew was tension nobody talked about. As Kindig-It Design grew with fame, not everyone made the transition. Over the years, fans noticed familiar faces quietly disappear. No goodbyes, no explanations, just gone. Replaced, forgotten. But inside the shop, those exits left scars. Some left on good terms, others didn't. There were rumors, burnout, creative differences, clashing egos. When a team is under constant pressure to deliver perfection on a deadline, not everyone survives. The grind? Dave had to manage not just builds, but emotions, personalities, tempers, and sometimes loyalty came second to logistics. Leadership looks glamorous until you're the one making the hard calls. Dave had to choose between what was best for the brand and who had been there since day one. Sometimes that meant letting go of people he genuinely cared about. Sometimes it meant swallowing tension and pretending everything was fine for the cameras, for the customers, for the rest of the team. Every time someone walked away, it left a ripple. Dave bore the weight of every departure, not because he was guilty, but because he understood something few leaders do. When the name on the wall is yours, every crack in the foundation feels. Personal fame didn't break the team. Pressure did. And when you build something great, keeping it together is often harder than building it in the first place. While the world watched Dave Kindig build dream cars, very few saw what it cost him at home. For every perfect reveal on Bitchin Rides, there was a dinner missed, a school event skipped, a vacation postponed for just one more build. Dave's wife. Charity was more than a partner. She was his anchor. She helped run the books, supported his vision, and kept the home steady while he chased something most thought impossible. But even the strongest partnerships feel the cracks when work never ends. Friends close to the family say the early years were brutal. There were months where the only time Dave saw his kids was before sunrise or after they'd already gone to bed. Birthdays turned into phone calls from the shop. Holidays got cut short by emergency builds, while the show often showed a tight-knit family business vibe. The off-camera reality was messier, more human. It wasn't about neglect. It was about sacrifice. Every decision Dave made was for the long game to secure a future, not just for himself, but for his family. He gave up moments he could never get back, Charity once said in an interview. We were all in or we were out. There was no middle, and that's the truth. Kindig-It was never just Dave's dream. It became the family's burden and the family's reward. But the road to that reward, it was long, quietly painful, and paved with 1,000 compromises no episode of Bitchin Rides would ever dare show. Every car that left Kindig-It carried more than horsepower. It carried Dave Kindig's name. Ken, when your name is the brand, the pressure doesn't sleep. It follows you home. It whispers to you at 3 a.m. It second-guesses every weld, every color, every decision. Perfection isn't a goal, it's a standard. And for Dave, that standard became a weight. People saw the final product. Perfect paint, smooth lines, impossible. Symmetry. What they didn't see were the nights he paced the shop alone, questioning if the build was good enough. What they didn't hear were the silent breakdowns behind closed doors when something went wrong days before a deadline. And what they couldn't feel was the anxiety of leading a team into a new season, unsure if the magic could be repeated again. And again, as the brand grew, so did expectations. One mistake could go viral. One bad build could spread across the industry. That fear, that silent voice saying, "Don't mess this up," became constant. Burnout crept in. But Dave kept smiling. Because leaders don't get to show cracks. And while fans saw confidence, what they didn't realize was that it came from carrying the burden alone for the team, for the shop, for the dream. Because when your name is on the door, failure feels like a personal attack. Oh. And perfection? It's a never-ending fight with yourself. Fame is tempting, but it's also suffocating. As Bitchin Rides turned Dave Kindig into a household name, something subtle began to change. He wasn't just building cars anymore. He was expected to represent them everywhere. Car shows, industry expos, fan meets, charity events. Appearances became required. Every handshake mattered. Every photo was branded. But there's a dark side. 2. Being the face. Fame creates a version of you that people expect. It rarely leaves room for bad days, personal space, or quiet. Suddenly, Dave couldn't just step into a coffee shop without being stopped, couldn't visit a car show without being swarmed. And while the attention was mostly positive, it was also never-ending. At work, it got worse. Every customer expected the Dave Kindig experience. Not the team, not the process, him, the face. And while his team was world-class, the demand for Dave himself created an impossible paradox. Be everywhere all the time, while still running a shop and delivering perfection. The bigger the spotlight got, the more isolated he became. Fame had turned him into a symbol. Clean-cut, charming, cool. Under pressure? Ugh. But the man behind the smile, he was still juggling bills, solving problems, trying to be a dad at the end of the day. And no matter how much success rolled in, Dave couldn't just switch it off. Because once you become the brand, you don't own the spotlight anymore. It owns you. Reality TV shows you what they want. You to see clean edits, perfect reveals, laughs in the paint booth, and emotional handshakes at the end. But real business, it's messy. And at Kindig-It Design, there were plenty of moments that didn't make the cut. Some builds went over budget. Way over, parts delayed, vendors failed, customers got impatient. A few walked away entirely, leaving half-completed projects and tension in their wake. But that never aired because the image of perfection is part of the brand. There were also internal breakdowns, team meetings that got heated, employees who didn't last. People fans once saw on early seasons quietly disappeared. Not all of it was drama. Sometimes it was burnout or just the reality of working in a high-pressure shop. But the silence around it, that was intentional. Dave took the hit every time. If something failed, he protected his team. Something ran late, he made excuses to the customer because in his mind, the brand came first. The shop's reputation, his name was sacred. One of the biggest myths in the world of custom cars is that every job goes according to plan. At Kindig-It, the truth is, they made mistakes like everyone else. It's a difference. They never let the cameras see them bleed. Because for Dave, vulnerability was a luxury he couldn't afford. Not with employees counting on him, customers watching him, and a global audience expecting perfection. He bore the stress alone and quietly paid the price. Through every missed dinner, every late-night breakdown, every deal gone sideways, Dave Kindig kept building. It's not just cars, not just a business, but a place, a legacy. Kindig-It Design became more than a brand. It became a launchpad. Apprentices became masters. Painters became legends. Builders found careers under that roof and purpose. Dave didn't just hire people. He invested in them, mentored them, gave them a shot to be part of something bigger than a paycheck, than the shop itself. It evolved from a cramped garage to a world-renowned headquarters. From local customers to international commissions, Kindig-It became a symbol of what was still possible in American craftsmanship. Oh, Dave's kids got older, and now they're stepping into the fold. A new generation carrying the torch. It's the same family that once made sacrifices now stands beside him. And while the lost moments can't be reclaimed, the legacy being built in their name carries a different kind of redemption. Didn't get here clean. He didn't get here easy. But he got here through every storm. And when younger builders ask him how to make it, he never sugarcoats the truth because he knows success that's real always costs something. When you see Dave Kindig on camera, laughing, joking, signing autographs, it's easy to believe that the ride was smooth. That building an empire was as simple as drawing a line and making it real. But the truth is far more brutal. This was a journey carved out of pressure, pain, and persistence. Behind every custom car is a custom scar. Missed memories, burned bridges, sleepless nights filled with self-doubt. And through it all, Dave never quit. He kept drawing when the money was gone, kept smiling when the pressure nearly crushed him, kept leading when leadership meant bearing the weight of failure alone. It's what makes his story different. It's not about the paint. It's not about the wheels. It's not even about the TV show. It's about a man who bet everything on himself and paid the toll at every mile marker. Today, Dave Kindig is one of the most respected names in custom cars. But behind the polish is a man who bled for every inch of success. A man who still wakes up every day knowing the cameras could stop rolling, but the shop can't. He built more than an empire. He built a legacy forged in sacrifice, resilience, and a kind of quiet strength the world will never fully see. Because some stories aren't made for TV.